TNTM The Show presents Comicast 353 with your host, Pablo Gunner, and I am here to talk nerd to you about this week's comics, which is August 29th comics. Yes. So, just so you know, we don't get paid to do this. And when I say we, I mean mostly me. I mean, none of us get paid to do this, but I, being the main, guy, don't get paid for this. I run this website on my own. Yeah, almost 100%. I would say pretty much 100% on my own. Run the website. AJ, he edits the Nerdy After Darks. And I have co-hosts for stuff, but I'm the one that does the editing. Not that there's much editing anymore, but I do the editing for the videos and the posting of the videos and the posting of the links on the website and the posting of, almost everything. SlayJ also posts the Nerdy After Darks on our podcast network. But that's it. It's me. I'm the guy. I'm the guy doing it. All on my onesie. And I don't get paid. It's just my money going into this thing. Pay for the name to GoDaddy. Pay for the podcasting host. Let's see what else is there. I feel like there's more. Oh, there's the comics. The comics is a big part of it. Comics are very expensive. I buy all these comics myself. So if it has a digital code, I buy it, and that's my money. And that's usually about $100 a week on comics, more or less, depending on if it's a slow week or a big week. Might be more, might be less, but it evens out to about $100 a week for the month, or just all together, I guess. So yeah. And like I said, I give these digital codes away of my own volition so that people out there can have comics that don't have the money to read comics or buy comics, don't have access to them for whatever reason. Maybe they live out in the country, or, I don't know. There's not a comic book shop near you. It's hard to get. I'm not sure. But regardless, that's why I do this, because I love comics and I love people, and I want to share those two things. And that's what I do. Even when I go to conventions, I give out comics. I give out bags of comics. If I interview you, you get a bag of comics, like 10 comics, and you get some Japanese snacks, because that's what Tonebone and I do. So I go like, hey, and then throw in our business card or flyer or whatever. So, that's it. All that we ask is that you give us a like or a view or, a subscribe or whatever for all this free stuff that you get. So I just wanted people to know that I'm not getting paid to do this. None of us get paid to do this. And that it is mostly me running this show. So yeah, that's it. But so this show, the Comicast, we have our own grade scale, and our grade scale is by skim pass with variations: strong by, weak by, strong skim, weak skim. Pass is pass. Then the best book we call the back and bag of the week, B-Bow. And there is a runner-up to the B-Bow, which we usually announce at the end. And I will, throughout this podcast, say, contender. Hey, this is a contender. And what I mean is this is contender for runner-up and or B-Bow. Sometimes I'll say just runner-up. Sometimes I'll say just B-Bow, because I'm being more specific, and that's probably too much. Even the strong by and the weak by is probably too much, but whatever. So I don't care, because it's my own system, and I don't give a crap, so I do what I want. So anyways, that's that. So I have a timer that's a minute. I try to do the comics less than a minute, especially because now I'm not even reading off the creative teams. I'll tag them when I put them in for the tweets. I'll mention their names for the tweets and stuff like that. because I know what creative team it is. And if you prefer that I name the creative team, then that's fine. I will, because sometimes you want to know, like, who is that from? You know, you could also look it up. Maybe you don't have time for that. I don't know. But I'm just trying to make the reviews go by quicker, you know, so that I feel that helps it. So it's an interesting week for comics this week. And so I'm going to go ahead and get into these books. And spoiler alert for these comics, because I am reviewing them. And I am also going to do a commercial break about halfway through. So I'm going to go ahead and start with Nightwing Annual #1. It is Benjamin Percy. It is Otto Schmidt. And this one, he's getting shocked by Barbara Gordon. She pulls this thing out of him that was near his heart. And they're starting to figure out that there's these things in society that are masking themselves, and they're hacking things, and that's what's helping them. He's actually teaming up with Vicky Vale. With Vicky Vale with the news, because the news is being blocked, but it's very vital. And then now somebody else they've created their own news. This hacker system has created their own news to just like bring out people's lies, or not lies, but you know, their worst things, and do all these horrible things to just spread lies, just straight up. So he's searching for people. He does find one. You don't know that he's fake. You're like, man, this guy's real. And then boom, wow, it turns out to be fake. Babs sets him up with like a new cave sort of, and cycle, but it's on the move, and it's more like it's on wheels. It's a van on wheels. That's what it is, and stuff. And so that's what a lot of this is those two working together and stuff. And now they're bringing out the big guns. This is an annual. But it works in conjunction with the ongoing title so well that I almost feel like you have to buy it. I don't know, because I haven't read the next issue. When I read the next issue of Nightwing, I'll know whether or not you needed it. And I bet you will. I bet you will, because it feels like you do. So it was really solid, and they packed a lot in there. I kind of felt like there was some filler in there as well, but I just love the Babs. I just love the Dick and Babs stuff is my favorite. The other stuff just kind of feels like filler to me. I don't know. Even though it's not, it is essential. Yeah. So I enjoyed it a lot. It looked really good. It was slightly different, the art from the other artist, but it worked, and I enjoyed it. So I can still give it a strong buy. And I'm going to move on to my next book, which is VNAM #1. And I did skim it first, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do this. I skimmed it, and I was like, okay, it looks like, you know, the stuff that they talked about already in Venom, and the more recent Venom and stuff. And so that's, you know, you have Nick Fury. He sends out Wolverine to go track these things that went nuts. And I don't know, it seemed a lot more confusing when it was told this way than it was told the other way. And I don't know, like, the art is amazing. It is pretty phenomenal. It's really cool, like having Wolverine there and stuff. I would like that a lot too, especially because it's like old school Wolverine and old school Nick Fury. But it just turns out to, like, I felt like it was really confusing because they could have turned this into more, and it was just confusing. It just led to confusion. It felt rushed and quick, and I did not enjoy that. The art looks great, and they're just like shoving out tons of Venom stuff. And like I said, I skimmed it, and the art looked really great, and it looked interesting because it's, like I said, Venom, you know, I mean, you have Wolverine, old school Wolverine and old school Nick Fury working together, sort of, to take this thing down, to fix this situation. So it was definitely interesting. So I don't know, it's a tough book for me because of that. And I'm really just stalling at this point because I can't get the digital code off, which I couldn't earlier either. So But I think I might have now finally. Boom! There it is. So it's because the confusion, I felt like you really could have spread this out over like a series of issues, like 3 or 4 issues. You could have done this, and that would have been better to get it all out there and not to be rushed and not to be confusing. Art phenomenal, so I totally have to give the art like strong marks, but it just felt rushed, so I can't. And it's Donny Cates, and he's doing a lot of stuff right now, so I feel like that's probably part of why too. So I'm gonna give it. I hate confusion, especially since there's not more coming. I'm gonna give it a week buy. That's what I'm gonna give it. Here's a digital code. Tell me what you think. T for Thomas, M for Marco, A for Amadeus, D for Delta, Q for Quasar, N for Nova, H for Hotel, X for X-Men, 4-7, I for Iceman, L for Logan. All right. Next is the Silencer Annual #1, and this is pretty cool. This is pretty interesting. So they're like, hey, we should go back to Gotham sometime, and they're like, oh yeah, flashback, and so it is when Silencer, she went up against Batman, and so you get a little bit of her origins, her being part of Talia al Ghul's Leviathan and stuff, and you think like she's there to take him out, and she goes to stop some crime and stuff, and then Batman shows up and attacks her, and they fight it out, and she's like, oh, wait, you don't want me to fight Batman? Oh, okay, well, then some other threat happens, so they have to team up and take down that threat and stuff, and then he's like, oh, you're working for Talia al Ghul, I don't want to be part of that and stuff, and then she just leaves and, talks to her husband before he was the husband and stuff. It was good. Like, I liked it. I liked it quite a bit just because of the fact that, like, I haven't been reading Silencer from the beginning, so it's good to get like some past stuff, especially since the most recent issue for me was like confusing. So this is cool. This is perfect for me. It works for me. I like it. I enjoy it, and it looks really solid. So I can give it a strong buy. Here's the digital code: DC for Detective Comics, B for Bane, 1-7, S for Sebastian, B for Bane, J for Joker, F for Family, C for Camp, H for Hotel, 5-4. Now, another book that I skimmed, it's Venom First Host #1. And so this one, essentially what it is they revealed that a Kree had the host before, during the Kree Skrull War, had the symbiote before, and so he was masking himself or pretending to be a Skrull, but then he protects these people because they were going to get slaughtered, and then he's like, hey, take my symbiote, but the symbiote won't leave him and tries to go back to him. And then you see it later with Eddie Brock, and then someone else tries to take it from him, which I think is the Skrulls. And then that Kree shows up and is like, you're not taking my symbiote. And so that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's all. So it looks pretty solid. It's interesting. I feel like they're messing with it too much. It's like, okay, Spider-Man was the first one. All right, Eddie Brock, oh, there's this Dracula dude, vampire guy, oh, Venom. All right, like you're just dropping more and more bombs, and it's just too many bombs to drop. You're just like, oh my God, you can't keep track. You're like, oh, this is just our life now. Tons of Venom bombs being dropped all over the place. I don't know. So it was all right. No, it was interesting. I don't know if I'm hooked for the next one or not. So I usually give things a 2-issue try. So I'll probably do that. It was all right. So I can give it a buy. Here's a digital code. Z for Zordon, D for Decathlon, 27, J for James, 23, B for Bravo, R for Rage, G for Glory, W for Wesker, 3. Now it's time for Hunt for Wolverine Dead Ends #1. And this kind of felt like a waste. They show these people and they're like, yeah, they're special. And then they're getting kidnapped. And then you see Tony Stark and he's on a motorcycle. He's going to the X-Mansion. And then Daredevil goes there too. And they're like, hey, we want your information. We got this other information from these other teams too. This company is sending a lot of spaceships out. And then this other team discovered zombies. So what's going on? And so really all this was them bringing the information that they had gotten from all the series, which if you read those series, you already know this information. So it just felt like a repeat and stuff. And then they try to stop these things, these missile type things that are coming down. This lady shows up, or this person shows up and is like, hey, there's these special people and they were going to become mutants, but they're not yet. And we killed them, but we have all the information for all the mutants that will become. So if you don't stop looking for us, we're going to kill them. And it's like, you're going to kill more people anyways. Of course, that's all the people that will ever become mutants. So that's pretty crazy. So, yeah, it's one of those things where you really don't need anything except for like maybe the last 5 pages if you read all the other series. Now, I didn't read all the other series, so it was still interesting to me to find out about the zombies. And then I was a little confused because I was like, I don't remember them discovering that from that series. I didn't think they really got anything from that. But they did, and that's what they got, so that here it is. It felt like all those other people should have been there, but they weren't. At least her own team. So that was also kind of weird. Yeah. I don't know. It was all right. This is another one, like, not bad. I don't know if you absolutely need it because they're like, find out in Wolverine #1 or Return of Wolverine. And I'm like, okay, I was going to probably get that anyways. So, yeah. Now I'm not sure if I needed this, but it was all right. So I can give it a buy. Here's a digital code. F for Familia, C for Carlos, M for Marcos, 8, J for Jacopo, 0, Q for Quintana, N for Novela, Z for Zorro, 9, E for Eleuterio, D for Diego. Next, Bad Girl Annual #2. This one is essentially her brother messing with her, but through using women that are fans of his, he has either sought them out or they have sought him out, and he's helping them become killers, successful killers. So there's one of them is doing that and is using this image from this horror movie that they used to watch together a lot when they were kids. And he's like, the thing is like she had a smile on her face when we used to watch those horror movies. So like this is her thing too. She loves this stuff. She loves dead bodies and all this business and stuff. And he's like, I just want you to visit me. He's like, I'll give you all these letters to help you find this lady if you just come visit me because I get lonely. So that's what she does. And she ends up discovering the main lady, maybe a little too late because of the victims that she had reached and stuff like that. But yeah, it's I always like her brother as a villain, especially because of Dark Mirror by Scott Schneider. That is phenomenal. So it's a good one shot, but it seemed like it could lead into more things in the future, which I would like to see. That would be really great. And then to also see Dick come in, get in on it too, get in on the action. So this one's pretty solid. So I can give this one a strong buy. and a contender. Here's the digital code: DC for Detective Comics, B for Bane 17, R for Rage 01, K for Kill, G for Grave, F for Family, P for Pain, K for Kill. Now I have Spider-Geddon, or Edge of Spider-Geddon, number 2. This one is interesting because we have this girl. So it's a mech. It's essentially like, it's a spider mech universe. She's a girl in high school. She has a spider mech. This other girl comes to talk to her and she's like, hey, I know you, you're this girl. And she's like, trying to be friends with her, but she's being kind of a snob. And then it turns out her name is like Addie Brock. And she runs a new one with this new thing, and it has like, the symbiote in it and stuff like that. And but but Uncle Ben and Aunt May are helping her and stuff. And there's this giant monster that shows up, the Morbius monster mech, and she attacks it, but she gets her butt whooped. And then they send in the Venom mech, but it goes haywire. It takes control of this girl that's in it and stuff. They fuse, and then something happens to her aunt. So it turns out to be really cool and really interesting. It's crazy because it's like, I want to know more about this universe, but now they're just going to go into the next big spider event. I didn't catch the last one because Slott was a part of it, and I don't like Slott, and I don't like his writing for Spider-Man. So that's why I avoided it. But some great things came from it, like Spider-Gwen. So yeah, this was interesting. I like the style. It was cool. I like it because it's like kind of mixing anime, mech anime, with comics and Spider-Man. It's cool. I like it. And then it's girls instead of guys. So I always like that. Strong buy and definitely a contender. I am going to hold on to this digital code until the end, when I will decide my runner-up and B-bow. Now it's on to Extermination number 2, and this is, I don't know, there's just some guy, and it's like, yeah, I'm this person, and then Cable takes him out. It's like in some grocery store, Cyclops is like, oh, we shouldn't be hiding or whatever. We shouldn't be splitting up. We should stick together and stuff. And so they run out, like Scott runs out, and then Cable shows up and attacks them, and they fight him off. And then at the same time, Ahab attacks them too. So it's really freaking crazy and really intense. And you see what's going on with Cable, and yeah, it's just really awesome. See, Old Man Logan messes some hounds up. It's really, really wicked. I just love, there's more and more casualties. There's more and more, like, the stakes are just getting higher and higher and higher. It's really awesome. It's really interesting. I like seeing a young Cable, like, just being crazy. It's cool. And I'm like, things do need to be fixed. It's about time things come around. So I'm interested to see what comes next. So yeah, this was really, really cool. Strong buying contender as well. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and hang on to this comic too. Yeah, it was really great. It looks phenomenal. Next is Red Hood and the Outlaws Annual number 2. It's $4.99. And so you have an injured Jason and Jason Todd. I thought he was redhead. But anyways, he shoots. He just hurts himself worse. Then his buddy shows up, Roy Harper, and he's like, hey, man, you need to relax. And they're like, hey, why don't we use this fortress that Starfire left for us? It has healing properties. So then the next time you see him, he's all healed up. You also see Roy Harper, and he is getting help. He's with his sponsor and stuff like that. He's like, I need to get help. I need to get back into rehab, and stuff like that. I need to get back in the program. So they work together. It was weird, though, seeing Jason Todd doing some acrobatic Dick style workouts instead of like his own style, which is shooting and stuff like that. But anyways, they go on this mission together, and it goes to crap pretty quick. And but it's cool seeing these two guys work together, and they do work together pretty well. I like them. And then they're like, yeah, you guys need to piss off and stuff, this group of ladies that they go after. And then he's like, hey, dude, I gotta go get rehab and stuff, so I'm out of here. But all the while, he is also looking for his other partners. That there was Artemis and Bizarro. I just could never get into it just because I feel like Bizarro really was not written well, because there was a really greatly done Bizarro issue or few issues done in the Spider. I think it was Superman or Action Comics, one of those. And it was done so well that I was like, man, that was mind-blowing. And then I read a Red Hood and the Outlaws book, and I was like, this Bizarro is not the same. This is stupid. This is different. This is messed up. This is dumb. So, yeah, they probably could have explained it, but whatever. I don't care. Oh, and guess what? This has a digital code. So it was cool seeing those two guys together. It was a little sad not seeing Starfire in the mix because I like her. It's weird how I don't really feel like she goes into that mix that well, but I know that they used to be the Outlaws together. So it was just weird not having them there, but they had a way to work it in. So I enjoyed it. It looked really good. I don't care what it teased, even though it is slightly interesting because of the Bizarro stuff. The Artemis stuff, find that interesting, but if they would replace Bizarro with somebody else, I'd be all for it. Anyways, I give it a strong buy. Here's a digital code: DC for Detective Comics, B for Bane 17, G for Glory, P for Pain, T for Thomas 8, J for Joker, F for Family 62. Next, it's X23 number 3. It is writer Mariko Tamaki, artist Juan Cabal, Nolan Woodard. I said I was going to do that, but I did it. Old habits. So anyways, yeah, we have Gabby. She's been kidnapped, and they put all of her belongings into this van. So Laura chases this van that has her scent, and yeah, and then she's like, oh, my bad, I'm an a-hole. But then she does get this tracking device, and so she goes there, she activates this tracking device. She goes, but Laura also goes to this scientist in the meantime, waiting for her to activate that. And then she's like, what were you doing? She's like, oh, transference, And so she's like, oh, crap. And then I love Gabby. She's just so adorable and funny. And then, yeah, also other stuff. And she does show up, but I think she might be too late. So we'll see what happens in the next issue, because it's really, really super intense, and it's really awesome, and it looks phenomenal. It's super interesting, and I can't wait for the next issue. It's going to be a strong buy and a contender for me. It's phenomenal. It's a really great issue. So I'm going to hold on to this digital code as well. Now we have Lando Double or Nothing. It is Star Wars, of course. It's number 4. And so this one, he has to lose the Empire. They manage to do that. And then they go save these people. He has to go through the sewers first with his cape. And he's like, yeah, I shouldn't have brought this. It's not a good place for a cape. There's these things protecting it. He can destroy them, but then they rebuild themselves into something bigger and stronger. Then they have to rally the troops, the prisoners inside and stuff. And he gives them this speech. I thought it was a pretty sorry and weak speech. It was pretty stupid too. And I really did not care for it. I feel like he's a better BSer than that. So yeah, well, he was very full of himself, but like if I would have heard that speech, that would have not motivated me to go break for my freedom, but but they do it anyways. And that's what happens. So yeah, I don't know. This is a short series, so I'm reading it. It's one of those where like, it's not bad, but it's not the best thing ever, but it really does get the tone of Lando from mostly from the Han Solo movie really, really well. So, but like I said, it felt like it was a little overdone in this. The best is the relationship between him and the droid, though. L337, I think. Yep. And so, yeah. So it's not bad. it's definitely not bad. It's not bad in any way. Like, it looks pretty great. It's just, yeah, it can be a little long in the tooth sometimes. So I can give it a buy, and here's the digital code. F for Falcon, C for Chameleon, M for Millennium, F for Falcon, I for Icarus, T for Tame, C for Came, 3, 0, W for Want, J for Jason, P for Palpatine. All right, on to The New Mutants, Dead Souls number 6. It's supposed to be the last one. Writer, Matthew Rosenberg, Adam Gorham, Garland. So there's this rubble, and it's weird because it's of Warlock, and Danny Moonstar went to check it out, and she gets infected by that dust. And then Ileana goes to check it out herself, and then she's doing some like meditating stuff, and then her boss shows up. And so she's like, oh yeah, you know, you've been playing us this whole time, and your brother's controlling you and stuff. And he pulls him out, and she's like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I was being controlled. And then they kind of like, I don't know if they merge into one or what, but yeah, it gets really confusing. And then the Warlocks take over or make replicas of these other of the team and stuff and attack Ileana, and she's fighting them off and stuff, and she's trying to protect her team because they're like, she doesn't want them getting infected. It's really weird because she pushes them away, but she does get help from some people. Strong Guy shows up. That was a pretty epic entrance. So yeah, it's really, really super nuts. And then, like, yeah, even the ending is like freaking crazy because it's like they're like, the end, question mark, you know? So you're like, what? You know, like, that's not an ending. That is in no way a conclusion. And yeah, what the frick? It's confusing. It's interesting. It's awesome. What? It's a number 6. It should be the conclusion for sure. Right? It's a limited series as far as we need. What the frick? So that being said, like, I can't grade this the same as I would like just a regular issue. And even then, like, it does have, like I said, there's these things, it just gets really crazy and really confusing too, where you're like, what? Huh? What? Well, okay. Awesome. So yeah, it's a lot of that going on. I can give it, I feel like it deserves a strong buy still, but definitely not a contender. Here's the digital code. Tell me what you think. T for Tomas, M for Marcos, A for Alamos, T for Tomas 3, W for Huerita, V for Villanueva 9, W for Huerita 9, S for Señorita, C for Chamisa. Oh, yeah. Anyways. Now on to Exiles number 7. I skimmed it first because I was like, I don't know about this title. It's freaking nuts. So, but I was like, when I skimmed it, I was like, oh, I forgot it's T'Challa, and he's a cowboy. And yes, I'm down for this, and it's in the Wild West, and I think they changed the artist too, so it's like completely Western style looking. It's really cool. You have Toad, you know, you change things. They do, and then they bring out the big guns too. Like, they have Morph, and they have Nocturne, and they show them, and then they have like this crazy freaking Pastor Xavier, and it's just, and they kill the freaking Pegasus, and then there's a shoot down between Magneto and T'Challa, and something happens to Morph, and something happens to Xavier, and you're just like, oh my gosh, there's so much going on. Holy crap. This was freaking awesome. Wow, I loved it. It was phenomenal. It's a strong buy and definitely a contender. It's also one of those books that really makes me want to buy the previous Exiles series just for Morph, because Morph was such a good character in this book that I was like, I don't really know Morph other than from the show. And I think so that's what they kind of based him off of, but not the way that he looks, because he kind of just looks like a blank slate, sort of. And Morph was such a good character on the show that was like, why, you know, like have they not done that in the comics? It just doesn't make sense. But they kind of, anyways, I want to buy the other series because of this issue specifically and because of Morph. That's how great it is. It's a strong Binance contender. It's another book I'm going to hold on to until the end. And it's also time for a commercial break where I'm going to be talking about one of our sponsors. And that sponsor is going to have to be that it is Age of Comics. Because they're a comic book shop that I get comics from, graphic novels, Funko Pops. They have statues. They have figurines. They have a pinball machine. I don't think that's for sale, but still you can play it. They have a danger room. They have a sentinel that looks like he's crashing through the door. And yeah, so if you want to check out their store, it's located at 3700 Osuna Road Northeast, Suite 513, Albuquerque, New Mexico, 87109. And if you want to call and there's anything you want from them, you can call them at 505-884-1776. If there's any books you want to order, you know, any graphic novels, anything pretty much. I asked for them for a shirt. I said, hey, I want the Dark Knight's metal shirt in a small. Can you get it for me? And they're like, done. And they put it in, and then I think within like a week or two, it was there. And I was like, wow. And it was perfect. I love it. It's like my favorite new shirt. So they also have a website, ageofcomics.store, and their hours are usually from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. So they are hardcore about their comics. Absolutely. They will press and clean your classic comics, or probably any comics if you want. Graded comics, they can get them graded for you, not necessarily at the shop, but they know the people. They can get a hold of them, send them out for you, and do all that business and stuff like that. They sell a lot of classic comics, you know, and also new stuff. They really know their stuff when it comes to comics, because anytime I ask them, they usually know the deal. I'll be like, hey, is this a good book? And they'll legitimately tell me if it's a good book or a bad book, or it's not worth it or not. And that's really cool. I like honest guys like that. They're not going to be like, yeah, man, it's really cool and it's really fun. You should get it. You know, because I've had those people before too. So that's no fun after a while. So anyways, here is my little puppy girl, Zoe, after Zoe Hanji. So anyways, yeah, so make sure you check them out. You can become a subscriber. I think the more you get, the better discounts you get is how it works. So go check them out. Age of Comics, like them on Facebook and everything like that. They usually post a video the night before on a Tuesday or whatever. Like I said, whenever, because sometimes they get them late because there'll be a holiday on Wednesday. So they'll get their comics. They'll do a video usually the day before they put out their stuff of anything that they got. Cool. So let's get back into these comics. I am going to start with the Batgirl number 26. And this one is, she's going up against this guy called Grotesque. And what this guy does is he used to steal people's art. And then she's like, okay, that's fine. But now she's turning people, or the person is turning people into grotesque art using their mangled dead bodies, essentially, you know, messing them up. So that's what this person is doing. So she's trying to stop them. She's trying to get help from the police. The police never came, or I think they did, and then this explosion was turned off or something like that. So it's really crazy. The craziest part of this was, though, is that he shocked her and electrocuted her, and she has a chip in her spine, and that's what allows her to be able to walk. And so it's on the fritz. And yeah, I was so terrified because like at first I was like, oh my gosh, she can't walk. This guy's just gonna beat her to death, or this person's gonna just beat her to death. But it still works. Like I think it did for a little bit, it didn't, and then it worked. So, but then there comes another point towards the end where like it's not working. So yeah, it's really intense. It's really good. That one's a definite strong buy as well. I'm totally invested in that. That's freaking awesome. So yeah. All right, let's move on to the next books, which is Miss Marvel number 33. And of course, same writer, I think, same creative team. She's about to face off. She's facing off with the Shocker. He's like, yeah, I can do anything I want here in Jersey, because there's not heroes everywhere. There's just you. Her powers are on the fritz, though. And so she can't control it. And she's going up against this guy. And because it's all messed up, and then she kind of goes into like this mindscape thing because she just like flattens out and he escapes. And then he's like, man, I haven't had this much fun in a while. And he's like explaining like why he does this and stuff. And he just has like these crazy contraptions and stuff like that. It's just freaking awesome and it's hilarious. And yeah, she finally deals with him, but then something else happens. And it's like, what the frick is going on? It's just pure craziness. And Bruno's trying to figure things out. And then he's doing this experiment. But that goes haywire in his lab too. So yeah, pretty cool, pretty interesting. I like it. I'm interested to see what's to come. So yeah, I can give this a strong buy. Here's the digital code. J for Jacopo, G for Gloria, M for Marcos, R for Rigoberto, 10, P for Pedro, Y for Yucca, S for Señor, A for Alamos, V for Villanueva, S for Señor. Now it's time for Lady Mechanica La Belle Dame Sans Merci number 2. I'm sure that was horrible. So yeah, she's facing off against these people that like injected her with something that knocked her out, and they're trying to get her into this casket and lock her in, but she's still, knows enough of what's going on to like fight them off and like escape out of that chariot that they have and stuff. And then she goes like to her friend that bailed on her because he wasn't there. He's supposed to be there with her and stuff, and is like, hey, let's snap out of it and stuff. He's like doing this work. He goes off on her. He's just being a royal dick. And she's like, you know what, freaking fine, screw you. And then this lady, she's just like, she uses some magic on him. It's weird. And then she goes back and talks to this inspector guy, Inspector Singh, I think. And yeah, and then then this kid comes to talk to her and is like, hey, there's something wrong with my uncle, can you check on him? And she's like, no, screw that guy. He said he didn't want my help. I'm not going to give it to him. And she's like, please, please, please. And then you realize that, yeah, some magic's involved with the ladies. So it's really cool. It's really interesting. I love this stuff. It's like murder mystery type stuff. It's really neat and really interesting. I like it. So get off the stuff, little girl. Get off the stuff. All right. So go lay down. Go lay down. So yeah, I give it a strong buy and I give it a contender. Next is Shattered Grid, or it's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Shattered Grid. I don't even know what issue this is. I can't tell with this sparkly, awesome cover that I got from Age of Comics. Yeah, it's freaking wicked. So yeah, it's freaking amazing. And same creative team and stuff like that. It's just all out battle and stuff. It gets to a really weird place. They start to mix the Zords of different times, which is pretty epic. And then they make it like grow extra big and stuff and fight this new Dragon Zord that has appeared and stuff. So he's combining his power too, and he's combining powers of Rangers. Anyways, whatever, he does shatter the grid, and he makes this perfect world and this perfect life for him where he is the hero and stuff, but then these spirit things show up and he has to fight them off. But he has these team of people that run his Zords to fight them off as well. And he just has these trainers and stuff training his own Rangers. Then it shows the Pink Power Ranger and how she used this weird, crazy magic thing on Tommy so they would like reawaken him and bring him like back to life type thing. It was weird. It just gets really weird, and they're like, yeah, I don't know. It just gets super meta. That's what happens. It gets super mega meta and really confusing. And you're like, this is cool and this is interesting and this is awesome. And then you see kind of like how they're both powerless and they fight. And he even is like, you think like he's going to kill him. And then he's like, oh no, I'll help you and stuff. And you're like, okay. And then they show like what's coming next. And it's just like a mashup of stuff. And I'm like, what the heck? I don't know. I don't know. It's awesome. I can give it a strong buy. Like I said, it's still confusing and super meta, so I can't give it a contender I want to because it's so epic and awesome, but it's just a strong buy right now. Wow. Okay, now it's time for Marvel 2-in-1 number 9, The Thing and the Human Torch. And we have same creative team, but now we have this messed up Fantastic Four show up, which is the Mad Thinker or Tinker or whatever. Human Torch and Thing have lost their powers. He's given these other people their powers, not their powers, but powers similar and stuff. And yeah, so they are like, yeah, they put these people at risk. So they're like, we have to go save them, dude. So they go save them. They're actually, Johnny's really pissed off with Ben because he had been lying to him this whole time. So yeah, and you see him fight him off, but they're like, what are we going to do? And they're like, well, I guess we can escape to this next town or whatever and see what happens. And then this guy's like, oh, but wait, there's mines in this whole desert and stuff. And then there's this, it's kind of like, I don't know, evil Spider-Man, I don't know, messed up hillbilly stuff. I don't know, it's weird. And so they're like, yeah, so, but they get they crash and stuff. And then, yeah, it's just an epic ending. I don't want to spoil it because it's so awesome and amazing and epic. This was way better. I want to say this is better. This lead up is way better than the Fantastic Four number 1. I'm not hating on Slott. You did it pretty cool, but this has been going on for 9 issues. So how can you beat that kind of build up in 1 issue? You know what I mean? So yeah, this one is definitely a strong buy and a contender. So, but yeah, the ending was just, it was so good. And I'm going to hold on to the digital code to this one too. Now it's time for Runaways number 12, same creative team. And they have a flashback when oh gosh, I can't remember her name. Nico and Carolina, they had a kiss, but they're like, oh, I don't know what's going on. I don't, and she didn't really have stuff figured out. I mean, you're in high school, right? Who has stuff figured out in high school? But now they're older and they're like, yeah, they have things figured out. And they're like, I have this, gala thing to go to tonight and I need somebody to go with. Will you go with me? And she's like, yeah, absolutely. And stuff. And then you see Gert and Chase and they're together and stuff. And they time travel. And she's like, I just want to see this butterfly that went extinct and stuff. And they're like, oh, it's not here. They can't figure it out. They talk. And then these butterflies, they show up at night because they glow in the dark. And there's just like a whole freaking swarm of them. And they have a nice little moment. And it's just wonderful because it's like, it's just feels so organic and so good and so real and just so nice. And it's kind of messed up, but it's really beautiful at the same time. And what happens with Nico and Carolina as well is just fantastic. But then the ending is crazy as crap cliffhanger. This is a strong buy and a contender. Another one I'm going to hold on to. I know that's a lot of books I'm going to be giving away at the end. Now it's time for X-Men Grand Design, Second Genesis, number 2, Ed Piscor. And I'll try to make this quick. But anyways, essentially it is, it's Rogue, her stealing powers from Miss Marvel and stuff like that, as well as a lot of things. But that's a lot of that going on, Morlocks and stuff. This weapon that Forge made, and then Shield is going to use it against mutants to like get rid of their powers, and then Xavier and stuff, and the Brood, the Brood invasion. That's that whole thing. That was freaking crazy. And then Logan and his chick and just Rogue, and then Cyclops and Madeline Pryor, I think. And then this thing with Rogue, and just like Rogue proving herself with the X-Men, there was a lot of that going on too. And then something horrible happens to Storm that was supposed to happen to Rogue. Really, really awesome. It is definitely a strong buy. This is in a league of its own. Truly, truly is. Strong buy and contender for sure, but it's really hard to like. It's there, but I feel like it's not entirely fair. This also came out, which is Fantastic Four #1. It's a rehash, and it's actually is $3.99. It's not like one of those $1 ones. And they have the old ads and everything. It's really crazy. And then they have like a thing from Dan Slott, and a thing from Tom DeFalco, and a thing from Walter Mosley, and a couple things from Stan Lee, which was really cool in the back. And it was really awesome. It's just like kind of like a lead up to Fantastic Four #1, which already came out, the new one, but not the second one, where they're going to fully reveal themselves as Fantastic Four. And it's really cool. It's really interesting. It's really nice. Like, it's really neat. So that one, that's also another one where I'm like, how can you grade that? Because it was actually made way back in the day, but it's like a reprint hash thing. It was really cool and really interesting. I like it a lot. But still, I give it a strong buy and a contender. Like, you should totally have it. You should totally buy it. But it is time for me to announce my runner-up and back bag of the week. And I have a lot of books. So here they are. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I feel like both of these things totally deserve, like, I don't know, for its time, like, of course, Fantastic Four, but now how can you compare it? And even this stuff, like, it's just crazy, but you definitely have to own it, because I feel like they are B-bows on their own, just because, like, the reprints and all that for that stuff. But, like, amongst all the other things, which is craziness, because it is all Marvel. Edge of Spider-Geddon, Extermination, X-23, Exiles #7, Thing and Human Torch #9. That's what I call it. It's Marvel 2-in-1 #9, and Runaways. So I'm going to go ahead and automatically count out Edge of Spider-Geddon. It was really awesome, but it's one of those things where I'm like, I wish they would get more into it, and it's getting into the Spider-Geddon thing instead. So here's the digital code for it. C for Chameleon, S for Spider-Man, A for Aranya, K for Craven, I for Iceman 77, U for Ultron, O for Ogre 8, B for Blast, and 8. There you go. And then I'm going to also exterminate Extermination #2. You can go ahead and have that one as well. It is really phenomenal. There's a lot of great stuff happening here. I just love seeing Old Man Logan like wreck people. I wonder if they're going to kill him in this too, because he's out of his own universe or time or whatever, So here it is. Here's the digital code. F for Familia, C for Carlos, M for Marcos, Z for Zoro, Z for Zoro, I for Ignacio, A for Alamos, D for Diego, 7-8, B for Barrio, 6. All right. And you know what? You can go ahead and have X-23. It was phenomenal. It looks great. And it's really crazy. Oh, man, it's so intense. And then it's so good. Here's the digital code, though. E for Ecuador, 0 for Oscar, A for Alpha, M for Mecca, 3, A for Alpha, 5, Q for Quentin, K for Kilgore, 1-8. And geez. You know what? You can have the Thing and Human Torch, as great as it was, because it is still the same artist, and I'm not the biggest fan of this art. Not that it's bad, I'm just not the biggest fan. Love the ending, though. Really, really made it for me. Here's a digital code. Anyways, Z for Zoro, 1, X for Xavier, S for Saiyan, 2, U for Ultron, Q for Quasar, A for Alpaca, I for Icarus, D for Donatello, G for Glory, A for Alpha. And that leaves 2 things, which is Exiles and Runaways. And I'm going to have to go with, shoot. You know what? I'm going to go with Runaways as my runner-up of the week. Here's the digital code for it. I'm going to completely spoil it, though. We have Gert and Chase, and they kiss, which is funny because he's just ahead right now. But Gert, it's just, like I said, it's a totally organic issue, and it was wonderful. And yeah, it looks phenomenal, and it's just really, really great. So yeah, runner up, Runaways number 12. Here's the digital code: F for Familia, Y for Yucca, L for Lupita, G for Gloria, X for Xavier, Y for Yucca, F for Familia, K for Kilo, 5, Y for Yucca, S for Senora, G for Gloria. Okay? And then that was my runner-up, yeah. And then Exiles number 7, because like I said, there's so much crazy stuff in this. Morph was perfect. I fell in love with Morph, but it was awesome because like you have the shootout with Magneto and T'Challa, and he's like, you killed my father, and he uses vibranium bullets, and he can't control vibranium, so he freaking shoots him dead. It's freaking awesome. It is really sad, though, because they killed, what's her name's Pegasus. Xavier is like this crazy pastor, and like you think he's going to be good, but he's actually controlling everybody with his powers, and he's evil, and you're like, wow, that's really messed up. And it's crazy how you have Morph, Octurne, and Blink, because I think Nocturne was a different alternate version of Nightcrawler's daughter, and then Blink is a different version of Nightcrawler's daughter, and then I don't know what Morph is. But anyways, yeah. So it was just really crazy, and it's really messed up, and Morph dies, so that was really sad. And then they're like, oh yeah, you guys, we're taking you to trial because you altered the timeline with the help of the Unseen. So yeah, epic, pure epicness. Loved it, and it looks phenomenal with that Western style that they did in this. Perfect. I love a good Western. So here's the digital code: F for Familia, C for Carlos, M for Marcos, L for Lupita, Z for Zoro, 9, R for Rigoberto, T for Tomas, 9-5, D for Diego. And that is it for me. Thank you for watching. I hope you appreciate all the free digital codes that I gave you, because I actually got all the, like I said, I get all the DC stuff digitally, so I didn't have to buy any of those. In fact, I would have bought the Nightwing one, but I didn't see the Nightwing one on the shelf. So, but yeah, if it has a digital code, I buy it. That's usually how it goes. I mean, unless I just don't like reading it, then that's not the case. But they're annual, so usually they're good one-shots too. So I better let my puppy out here before she tinkles in the room or something. I don't know what she's doing. But yeah, so I hope you appreciate all that stuff, because like I said, I dropped an extra BJ probably just for all the comics that I bought this week. So yeah, thanks for watching, listening, viewing, hearing, seeing, whatever, and talk nerdy to me. Of course, I talk nerdy to you, and keep your ojos hungry for comics.